Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Jackson James, and in today's video we will be predicting the 2020 NBA playoffs. Now obviously the season was cut short, or actually suspended because of the coronavirus, and so the NBA has decided to ship 22 teams that are still in contention to make the playoffs and contend for an NBA championship. They shipped them down to Orlando in a privatized bubble. So they won't spread the coronavirus and they also won't get it, so that they can compete for this NBA championship without throwing away the season. I love this move by the NBA. I feel like this is a great move for them. I think the world needs sports right now, so that's why I'm really looking forward to it. Baseball's been canceled, or at least postponed. NFL doesn't look good. Luckily, the NBA is coming back. Most sports are coming back by the end of July, so I'm really looking forward to that. But let's get to the predictions. So obviously, there's some regular season games left to play. But my thing with this is, really, are those a couple teams that aren't in the playoffs really going to make it? Like, do I think the Trailblazers could make a run, but I don't think they'll make it. But like most East teams at the bottom, like right now you have Orlando in the 8th seed. They have a 30-35 record. You know, they don't have a winning record. So I don't think any other East teams are going to make it. So that's why we're going to start with the East. All right. So for the first matchup, I have Milwaukee versus Orlando. This is preset. Milwaukee has won all the matchups in the regular season, and most sports analysts and most people know out there that the right answer is Milwaukee. If you don't pick Milwaukee, just pick Milwaukee. Yeah, Giannis is probably the MVP. I'd love to see LeBron win the MVP, but probably Giannis is going to win it. So Giannis, with that stacked team built around him, I think they'll easily defeat the Orlando Magic in 4 games. Now going on to the second matchup, you got the Toronto Raptors versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if KD and Kyrie were playing, it's a different story, but they're not. Unfortunately for us, Kevin Durant probably could play, but I think he's best off just resting that injury, that Achilles tear he had in last year's NBA Finals. Kyrie is doing this, is sitting out because of the Black Lives Matter movement. So is some other NBA athletes, but most athletes are sitting out because of the coronavirus, and they have families back at home, and they don't want to spread the disease to their families. So you got a well-coached Toronto team versus a lackluster Brooklyn team. Now, Brooklyn has great role players for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. The thing is, you don't have your stars playing. Toronto is well-coached, and they got their stars playing. This series is a sweep. 4-0 Toronto. Now going on to my favorite matchup, first-round matchup of the East side. It's the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, everyone's like, oh, this one's easy. It's going to be the Celtics in 6 or 5, maybe 7. Well, here's the thing. You have that many stars on your team, right? And I'm not saying the Celtics are bad. They're the 3rd seed for a reason. At a 43-21 record as of right now, before the season picked up again, they were a good team. Jason Tatum is definitely a young star waiting to burst, and he was balling before quarantine happened. And then you have Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward could drop a couple in a game. You know, they got a pretty good team. I just think the loss of Al Horford, that big veteran presence on their team, is going to cost them. And guess who Al Horford plays for now? The Philadelphia 76ers. So, in my upset pick, I got the 76ers winning the series in 7 games. This might be the best first-round matchup we've had in a while. What a matchup. But to round off the first round in the East, we got the number 4 seed Miami Heat versus the 5th seed Indiana Pacers. Victor Oladipo sitting out because he wants to rest that injury that he's just recovered from. And, I mean, Miami is a good team, very young. You know, they can make a run. They can make an upset maybe in the second round, because obviously I have them winning the first round in 6 games. And that Jimmy Butler really has to show that he can be a leader on a team. Obviously, his leadership skills are top par with like LeBron and them, but like his skills on the floor, like he's clutch. He can be clutch, but like he needs to show that. He needs to show down late in the fourth quarter, getting the steal, and then hitting a clutch three-pointer or shot. Just give that edge for their team. Right now, before the quarantine happened, he wasn't playing his best basketball. And you're thinking, well, they got Bam Adebayo. He's great. But Jimmy Butler is the star of this team, and he really needs to ball up for them to even make a deep playoff run. And they could even end up losing the series if Jimmy Butler doesn't perform. But now transitioning to the second round of the East, you got the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks playing the number 4 seed Miami Heat. It's Milwaukee. You know, Giannis is coming for revenge after losing the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Let's say even if Jimmy Butler's playing the best basketball of his life, this could maybe go 7, but the Bucks would probably still win. I don't see that happening, so I have Milwaukee winning in 5. I gave 1 game to Miami. They're a young team. Maybe they win one on home, like at home. Like Milwaukee goes up 3-0. It's game 4. They want to show to their fans that they're willing to win one. But I don't think they're going to win this series. But they have a bright future ahead of them, especially with Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn. Those guys are ballers. But going to the second matchup in the second round, we got the number 2 seed Toronto Raptors versus the number 6 seed Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I think if Philadelphia really goes 7 games, goes the distance in round 1, I think they could be a little tired depending on, because I have Toronto sweeping, so Toronto's going to have time off. That might give them an edge. You know, Philly and Toronto aren't really close. I mean, you know, that's a decent travel, so I could be tripping on that. I don't know, but I have Toronto winning this one in 6 games. I think game 5 would ultimately be one where the Sixers miss like Jimmy Butler or something like that, because I don't know if Tobias Harris is really that guy you want to go to. I think Embiid is that guy for them, and then Ben Simmons, and then Tobias Harris. But I have Toronto winning the series in 6 games to set up a Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks and the number 2 seed Toronto Raptors. Now, this could be a great series. Obviously, last year, Kawhi, this was his kind of like breakout game. Like, everyone's like, whoa. I mean, obviously, the shot against the 76ers in Game 7 was like, whoa, Kawhi Leonard is back. He's here. And then he showed that in the Eastern Conference Finals. He backed up that shot. It was like, was that a lucky shot or is this for real? So now I believe that the Milwaukee Bucks Now we have the final Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks and the number 2 seed Toronto Raptors. Now, Kawhi was that guy last year, right? And I think they miss his presence in Toronto. They don't have that guy. I really don't think they have that guy that can go too late. And he's a bucket. Like, you get the ball, you get this guy the ball, he's going to get you a bucket. Like, they don't have that guy anymore. And you can say, oh, they got Pascal Siakam. I don't think he's there yet. He could be there. I don't think he's there. I think Fred VanVleet could be that guy. No, I'm not saying give him the ball and ISO and then step back and splash. No, I think he could be that guy that hits like a Ray Allen 3. It's like, whoa, Fred VanVleet for 3, and then like bang. But I have Milwaukee winning this one in 7, but this could go to 6. I think I'm giving Toronto a little too much credit for being really well coached, but this could go 6 or 7, but I have it going 7. So that leads Milwaukee to be the representative of the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. So now we move to the Western Conference, and this one, still people have, it's either Clippers or Lakers, but we're going to go round by round on this one, just like we did the East. So starting with the first matchup, we have the number 1 seed Los Angeles Lakers and the number 8 seed New Orleans Pelicans. Now, at the time of this recording and before the bubble season picked up, the Pelicans aren't in the playoffs, and it's the Memphis Grizzlies. I personally think that the Pelicans, led by Lonzo Ball and Zion Williamson, will end up making the playoffs over the Trailblazers and even stealing the spot from the Memphis Grizzlies. I just like the connection that Lonzo and Zion have. I think that's a very strong connection. They also have strong play from Derek Favors. Brandon Ingram is probably the most underrated player in the league. And they'll make the playoffs, but they'll get swept. I have the Lakers winning 4-0. It's the Lakers. I mean, they lost. Avery Bradley is opting out for the rest of the season. Rajon Rondo just got injured. It could be difficult for them, but I still have them sweeping. I think those injuries and those missing Avery Bradley will help hurt them later in the playoffs, not necessarily early round, because I think LeBron and AD can handle themselves. So moving on to our second matchup, we have the 7th seed Los Angeles Clippers versus the 7th seed Dallas Mavericks. I love the Mavericks. I love what they have with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. I just think this quarantine hasn't really helped them, because I think they were balling a little before the quarantine. And let's say Kawhi unfortunately gets corona, or like Paul George, or maybe one of their key role players gets. They could potentially have an upset, but I still think even if they were not to have Kawhi, I think the Clippers might still be able to win. So that's why I have them winning in 5 games. Could be a sweep. I just think Luka would be too much. Maybe one game if it's close at the end to take the victory, but it won't matter because they'll lose in 5 games. It hurts me though. But going on to our next matchup, we have the 3 seed Denver Nuggets versus the 6 seed Houston Rockets. Now, everyone loves Denver, and I think they're a great team, but they're just too young still. We saw that in last year's playoffs that hurt them against the Trailblazers. They were just too young. And here, I think you got a hungry James Harden. You have a Russell Westbrook that hopefully will return in time for this matchup. I think he will, even though he has corona right now. I think he'll return. And Russ was playing his best basketball before the quarantine happened. So I think if they continue with their small ball and just let Russ do Russ and let Harden do Harden, I think they could end up winning the series. So that's why I have them winning in 6 games. I think it would be shocking. Most people would be shocked if they win the first game. They'll be like, whoa, are the Rockets for real? And then maybe they win the second one, like, hold up. And then it gets tied, and then they win the next 2. I just think a hungry Russell Westbrook and hungry James Harden. We've never seen this in playoffs before. And we have seen this in the playoffs before, actually. And the last time they were on the team together, they made it to the NBA Finals. Obviously, they're missing Kevin Durant, their MVP. They're probably the best player on that team, but still, we haven't seen this duo in 8 years. They could shock some people, so that's why I have them winning in 6 games. Now going to the last matchup in the first round of the Western Conference, I got the Utah Jazz versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City has shocked people. Chris Paul has proved the haters wrong. He is not washed. He has just proven that he is here to play. They got a lot of other players. Steven Adams is balling out. Shai'Gis Alexander, whatever. That guy's a baller. He's number 2. I don't know his name. His name's very long, but I think the pairing of that and Utah missing like too many of their players due to injury, I just think they don't have enough firepower to combat the Thunder's just overall ability to score. So I have Oklahoma City winning in 6 games. Now transitioning to round 2. Now this could absolutely this could change people's brackets if things change here. But normally people have the Lakers, so do I. But they're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. This one's a sweep for the Lakers too. I just think, obviously, maybe it could go 5 without Avery Bradley. I think if they have Avery Bradley, it's a sweep because then he could put some defense on Chris Paul. Even though he's not gonna probably not shut him down, he can hold him though. Instead of scoring 30, maybe scoring 20 and stuff like that. But I think AD and Steven Adams kind of negate each other. Maybe Anthony Davis puts himself above Steven Adams in terms of production. But who's going to guard LeBron? This is the problem with every team. Who's going to guard LeBron? So that's why I have them winning into sweep. Playoff LeBron's a different beast. Obviously last year was a meme. It's like, all right, time to activate LeBron mode or playoff mode. Didn't really work out because he got injured, but I think this year's different for him. He knows that this is might be his only chance because the Warriors are back next season. I just think a hungry LeBron is insane. So, playoff LeBron, watch out. Now you got the second matchup, the 2nd seed Los Angeles Lakers versus the 6th seed Houston Rockets. Even though Houston's very fun to watch, they're not really built to go up against a juggernaut like the Los Angeles Clippers. So that's why I just have it a 4-0 sweep. I think it's a very depressing defeat for the Rockets. I don't see them shooting very well because of the defense. Harden probably could get clamped by Kawhi a couple of times in a game, and that could be the deciding factor. And then Russ, they're probably just going to leave Russ open for 3, and he's not the best 3-point shooter in the world. That's not how he plays. So that's how I can see the downfall of the Houston Rockets. So that's why I have it a 4-0 sweep. And that puts everybody, wow, look where we are. Everybody predicted this. It's the first seed Los Angeles Lakers versus the second seed Los Angeles Clippers. Wow, who would have predicted this? Not me. Yeah, well, this is probably the one that could go 50-50. I think NBA analysis, or people that do sports will probably tell you the Lakers have lost too much. They don't stand a chance. And you go back to that last game between the Clippers and Lakers. Avery Bradley balled out that game. And this is where I could be wrong, but I have the Lakers winning in 7. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's LeBron and AD versus Kawhi and Paul George. I just don't see Paul George for the Lakers to win. Paul George just doesn't have to perform well, and he's done that in playoff series before. He just hasn't performed well, especially when he was with Russ. And you could say, well, that's Russ. This is different. This is a better team, better coach. That's maybe true, but I wouldn't trust Paul George as my number one star, number one shooter. I trust Kawhi way more because he's actually won a ring, but it's just AD is going to perform, LeBron is going to perform, Kawhi is going to perform. Is Paul George? And you're saying, well, they got Lou Will. Is Lou Will going to perform? People forget LeBron is playing the point guard. LeBron's a decent defender, all right? He's not the best defender. He's not the worst defender. He's a decent defender. You put him on Lou Will probably get clamped. That's just how I see it. So that's why I have them winning 7. This series could go either way. But whoever wins this series will probably win the NBA playoffs. The NBA Finals. They'll hold up that Bill O'Brien trophy. That's the MVP. That's the MVP trophy. They'll hold up the championship trophy. All right. So now we have the finals matchup between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Los Angeles Lakers. This would be a great matchup. Giannis versus LeBron, top 2 MVP candidates. I love this. But gotta give it to LeBron. Even though Giannis winning would be a great story, I think LeBron winning this would be even a better story. First player to win 3 championships with 3 different teams. I think that would be awesome to see, especially if he wins NBA MVP, which it could go to Anthony Davis. I want to bet on. That's why you have. That's why I think I picked the Lakers over the Bucks. You have 2 players on the Lakers that can win the MVP of the finals. On the Bucks, you have 1, Giannis. Now Giannis is a beast. Is Giannis better than LeBron? Yes, you could debate that. Is Giannis better than AD? Yes, you could debate that. But what's better, 1 or 2? I take the 2 every time. Because you could double team Giannis, make him pass, make someone else beat you. You can't really double team Anthony Davis and then double team LeBron at the same time. That just leaves other people open. That leaves Danny Green in the corner open. That leaves JR. Oh god, JR. You leave JR open in the corner and he can slash. He still got it. So that's why I have the Los Angeles Lakers winning in 6 games. I think Giannis, obviously home court is different in this. So that maybe could lead to less competitive series, which is kind of a shame. But yes, I have the Lakers winning the 2020 NBA championship. And for the people that say there should be an asterisk on this one because it's not a full NBA season or whatever, it's not a real playoff atmosphere. If you're thinking the Lakers probably shouldn't deserve this if they win it, if you think about it, the Lakers' hardest series is against the Clippers. They were going to be at home all of those games. If they went to 7, they're going to be at home for all those 7 games. We saw that during the regular season. It was the majority of Lakers fans showing up to Staples Center when the Clippers and Lakers went up to battle against each other. The only way this helps them is when they play Milwaukee. Because they don't have to travel to Milwaukee across the entire nation. But hey, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, bye-bye.